Hello everybody, what is up? This is Eddie and Eddie and welcome to finally our Premier League table predictions video. If you guys go through this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe and let me know your table prediction in the comments. And I'm not looking forward to being absolutely taken the mick out of in the comments. I have done some, off-camera predictions myself in terms of writing it all down. I'm going to be following this, or maybe it might change as I go. Because, I don't know, I feel like it changes every single day in my mind. But yeah, anyway, we're going to kick it off with the first team, which is going to be the team that I think is going to be finishing last in the Premier League. And we're going to go with the Saints, who I think will finish rock bottom. I think the lack of experience in Southampton with Russell Martin as manager. I feel like the signings they've made so far have been alright. You know, they set to sign Ben Brereton Diaz, I think is a great signing. That's Sugawara fella, good signing. Adam Lallana, Flynn Downs. But I do think the lack of experience Southampton could be an issue. And I just think their overall quality, obviously they scraped through, well, they didn't scrape through the championship season, that's obviously, but they were predicted to finish and do probably a little bit better than what they thought they would. I actually predicted last year them to win the league, and they ended up finishing fourth or third, one of the two. I think they finished fourth. And, so for me, Southampton, rock bottom of the Premier League. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So, for second bottom, I have decided to go with a club who's been in the Premier League for a few years now. Brentford. I think if they lose Ivan Toney as well, I think it's all pretty much set. Ivan Toney's been heavily linked to Spurs, Manchester United. But the reason why I've gone with Brentford at 19th, I just feel like they just don't seem inspiring that much anymore. Their recent transfer business hasn't been particularly great. They've recently signed but he's officially now signed a new Brazilian striker. His name Igor Thiago or something like that. Should be interesting to see how he does. I think Mbeumo and Wisa could be absolutely key to them, but Brentford, I think they were a little bit lucky last season that a lot of clubs below them really underperformed. So yeah, for me, Brentford 19th in the Premier League. Let me know your thoughts, and I'm going to go with Brentford at 19th. Next club we're going to go for is one which I know a lot of people probably disagree with for me for the final relegation spot, but I am going to go with Manchester. No, I'm joking. I'm going to go with Ipswich Town to go into 18th in the final relegation spot. I think Ipswich have had a great transfer window so far. Jacob Greaves, Ben Johnson, Liam Delap, Muric. I mean, they've definitely had some great transfer business, but then again, is many of them saying they've made Premier League quality? That is the question. But it's not necessarily about that with Ipswich. Even when they're in the Championship, I wouldn't say they had the best squad, if that made any sense, like on paper compared to other teams in and around them. I think Ipswich are a really good upcoming club at the moment. They've played some fantastic football. They've got a great young manager in McKenna, who's been heavily linked to other clubs like Brighton and Manchester United, mainly Man United recently after Ten Hag being rumoured to depart. But yeah, for me, I'm going to go with Ipswich 18th. I just think maybe the lack of experience again with Ipswich, could maybe really affect them. I think a lot of their signings, they've been maybe more high-grade Championship players rather than Premier League players. But yeah, I really hope they do stay up though. I'd love Ipswich to stay in the Premier League, but I feel like it could be another story, maybe like Luton. Anyway, now for 17th, the team that I am predicting to just pip, just stay up by the skin of their teeth. I am gonna go with Leicester City. That is the team I am going to predict to just stay up by the skin of their teeth. I feel like the quality they've got in their team is good. Obviously signed the extension with Jamie Vardy. They're heavily linked to quite a few new signings at the moment. One of them being Reece Nelson from Arsenal, the winger. But yeah, they've already made a couple of new additions as well. One of them being Decordova-Reid, which I think is a great signing in my opinion. I really do rate Decordova-Reid, as a good solid player to have But yeah, for me, 17th for Leicester City. I think they can definitely stay with the quality they've got. And I definitely do think with Steve Cooper, they might have more of a chance staying in the Premier League than they would with Enzo. But anyway, yep, 17th. Right, so now for 16th in the Premier League, I am going to decide to go with Fulham. I'm going to go with Fulham. That is the team I'm going to decide to go with in the end in the Premier League. I do think Fulham, they're looking likely to have a good window so far. Despite losing João Paulinho, they're set to sign Emile Smith-Rowe. They've already signed Ryan Sessegnon. But other players have been linked with departures as well. They've already lost Tosin Adrabayo, who was one of their first choice centre-back last season. Obviously, they've now obviously lost João Paulinho, to what I've said. I swear they've lost somebody else as well. I know Robinson's always been linked and moves away. I can't see that happening, though. Obviously, they've lost Decordova-Reid, as I said, about the Leicester City one. But yeah, I think Fulham, they're definitely good enough to stay in the Premier League. But for me, I think they could be in for a bit of a nervy season. So yeah, I've decided to go with them in 16th. Now we move on to 15th in the Premier League table. And I've decided to go with Nottingham Forest. I think Forest are another team that I think are predicted to be maybe struggling, but their transfer window has been really good so far. I think signing Milinkovic from Fiorentina is an incredible bit of business for a side that almost got relegated last season. I say almost, obviously they picked it up towards the end, and obviously managed to stay off relegation, but always in that threshold with Luton. But yeah, for me, Nottingham Forest, I think they've had a great transfer window so far with the signing of Milinkovic. What a signing that is. Two-time Europa League Conference League finalist, Serie A defender, Serbian, big fella. But yeah, for me, Milinkovic is a great signing for Forest, honestly, a level above in my opinion. I swear they've signed a couple of other players, but not many of them are coming to my head right now. I could have sworn they signed someone else, but yeah, Nottingham Forest in 15th is my Premier League prediction. So now we go on towards the final spot, really in the bottom half of the table, which is 14th. And what I chose for 14th is Wolverhampton Wanderers. I put them really low last season in the Premier League table. I actually predicted them to get relegated, but I have managed to steer them away from that this season. For the 14th spot. Yeah, because that goes 17th, 16th, 15th, 14th. There we go. That's how numbers work, Eddie, just to make sure. Yeah, 14th for Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think they've had an interesting transfer window so far. I think signing Jørgen Strand Larsen, I felt like the Norwegian stroke Celta Vigo is definitely a big purchase for them. He was linked to a lot of top clubs. Had a great season in La Liga, despite, Celta Vigo having a pretty poor season as the football club. But yeah, I personally think Wolves will do okay this year. Obviously, a lot of their players have been linked with departures away, and FFP could be a bit of an issue with Wolves. Obviously, they have lost Max Kilman as well, defensively in the ranks. I think Gary O'Neill's a great young manager, though, and I think they're going to be fine. But 14th, I think, is a good finish. Let me know if you would take that, Wolves. Next one we're going to go to is going to be 13th. And I am going to go with AFC at Bournemouth at 13. Bournemouth are a club which seems to be making moves at the moment in real life in terms of the transfer market. We're linked to a lot of top players, and they're set to sign highly rated young Juventus centre-back. By the time I probably upload this, it might have already been done. I think his name's like Husseya or something like that. But anyway, young Spanish defender, a fantastic sign that would be. Despite players having linked to moves away from Bournemouth, mainly Dominic Solanke linked to Spurs, I think their squad is very good. I think they've got a great young manager in Areola, the former Rayo Vallecano manager. But yeah, 13th for me for Bournemouth. Right, next thing I'm going to go with is going to be Everton. Everton, a club which obviously financially are in a bit of a mess in terms of FFP. They have lost quite a few players already during this and could still lose more. One being Amadou Onana who now currently plays for Aston Villa now after recently signing for the departure of Everton, 50 million. They've also been heavily linked to lose Jarrett Brantwaite, and could they maybe losing because Jack O'Brien has agreed a deal with Everton. It's all set to be done, the young Leon defender. But I think Sean Dyche's team, they won't be any trouble. I don't think they'll rip any trees, but just, a solid season for Everton in my opinion. However, I think Everton's main problem has definitely been goals, and I'm intrigued to see how they will respond to that. Next club we're going to go for in that 11th spot as we approach the top 10 of the Premier League table is going to be Crystal Palace. Despite Palace losing Michael Elise, they have had a pretty good transfer window so far. Mainly one of them big players is Kamada. The Japanese centre attack midfield reuniting with Glasner when they were at Frankfurt together. For me, I think Palace are a side which look really good. They had a phenomenal end to last season. Crystal Palace, the fantastic win, destroying Aston Villa. Their ground and going and winning run, Crystal Palace. They look so good, in pre-season as well. Scoring goals are fun too. I'm intrigued they're going to do. You do wonder whether the departure of Michael Elise could really affect them. But to me, unless if they lose Eze as well, I think they're going to have a great season. So yeah, I've decided to give them 11th. Now I've decided to go with in 10th in the Premier League. I've decided to go with Brighton. A bit more of a controversial one. Brighton in 10th at the moment. I do think Brighton are making a lot of risky moves at the moment. I feel like sacking De Zerbi and appointing a young, highly rated German coach from St. Pauli, who just got promoted, who's actually younger than some of the players at Brighton already. But yeah, he's a great young coach. I believe he's I think he might be the youngest coach in the Premier League ever. I believe he's only like 33, 32. But yeah, he's a good young coach anyway. And I feel like Brighton always seem to prove people wrong. A lot of people are predicting Brighton, to be around here, But for me, I'm going to put them here because I do think they prove people wrong, and I think they'll continue to prove people wrong until, they are taken seriously and they actually, do something really massively noteworthy, which I think they definitely can. They've got some great players in their team. They've also had a good transfer window as well so far. It's very early on to talk about the transfer window. Anyway, next team we're going to decide to go with, we're going to go with Newcastle, filling up the 9th spot inside the Premier League. Newcastle United have had an intriguing window so far. Suddenly a young Serbian defender, Lloyd Kelly, has came into the club as well. Lewis Hall, by option has been, brought. So, for me, I think Newcastle 9th is a fair position. The question is, though, will Eddie Howe last with Newcastle? Let me know your thoughts. Next one we're going to go on to is West Ham in 8th in the Premier League for the Hammers. Julian Lopetegui, the new manager at West Ham United, so far looks like they might be doing business in the transfer window so far. Despite the rumour of losing Lucas Paqueta, obviously signed the likes of Max Kilman is an absolutely huge, staple for them. And I feel like Kudus now, his second season of the Premier League, will he click Jarrod Bowen? We all know what he can guarantee for West Ham. But for me, the players that West Ham are linked with as well, they've been linked with Dobvik recently, they've been linked with Mazzori, even though I don't think either of them are apparently going to happen now, but they still are linked with some high-profile players. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about West Ham being 8th. 7th in the Premier League, I've decided to go with Chelsea. I think Chelsea under Enzo will not have a great year. However, I think they'll pick it up. They do need to stick with him, but I don't think they will. I don't know. It's just typical Chelsea, isn't it? But yeah, Enzo Mascaria, I really hope they do prove me wrong, and I hope they do great. They've got some absolutely phenomenal players. Conor Gallagher has been heavily linked to a move to Atletico Madrid, but you look at the likes they've already got in Cole Palmer. Obviously, a new signing, Tosin Adrabeo. I swear they've all signed in. Kuku might hopefully have a full, fit, proper year. Mark Guehi as well, the young... Mark Guehi, the young Spanish forward they signed from Barcelona. So yeah, for me, I've given them 7th in the league. 6th in the Premier League, I am deciding to go with Aston Villa. I think Villa have had an interesting transfer window, to say the least, despite, set to lose Moussa Diaby and lost Douglas Luiz as well. Their transfer has been really interesting. They've signed Iling Jr. from Juventus. They signed Enzo Bonaccia as well, young Argentina central defensive midfielder. They've also signed Jaden Philogene Badais. I feel that they're heavily linked with João Felix at the moment as well. I'm really intrigued to see how Villa will do, but I feel like maybe we've seen this before, not just in the Premier League, in the Bundesliga, Serie A, a team that has finished, well above their means, and have just absolutely, fallen. A club that is not used to playing in the Champions League, well, recently anyway, as we go back to the 70s, 80s, but a club that's not recent, to the Champions League. Might they struggle to adapt, with the teams they're going to play against, the amount of games they're going to have, injuries, because the Premier League and the FA Cup, Carabao Cup's already a lot of games to add as it is for a calendar year, and then to add in the Champions League as well. Or even if they decide don't even make it out of the groups, don't think it's third to go into the Europa League, and there's more games there. It could really affect them, so they definitely do need to continue bolstering their squad. Okay, now fifth in the Premier League. So I've decided to go to Manchester United. A little bit of a better finish than Man United for last season. I think Eric Ten Hag, they've strengthened their backroom team. Van Nistelrooy, they brought in a young coach as well. Well, not a young coach, but another coach. They are definitely revamping their coaching department, apart from their manager. Despite the rumours of Eric Ten Hag to depart Man United, it looks like he will be staying. And I'm intrigued to see how Manchester United will do. Man United have already had a solid transfer window so far, signing Xerxes, the young Dutch forward, Yoro as well, the young French Lille defender. I think he's a great signing for Manchester United. I'm intrigued to see how they're going to do. Obviously, they do need to get rid of some of the dead wood. One of the main players being Casemiro. He's been linked to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, they've already lost the likes of Varane, who had a great, season, a great last game for Man United, in my opinion, in that FA Cup final against Manchester City. It looks like they could potentially lose a few other players as well. Eriksen on his final year of his contract. A lot of players being linked with moves away from Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes as well, been linked to Barcelona, Real Madrid, but I don't think that'll happen. Obviously, Jadon Sancho could potentially leave. Wouldn't Rashford leave to try and find somewhere to maybe rejuvenate his career? But anyway, Man United 5th. Fourth in the Premier League, I'm going to decide to go with Spurs. I think Spurs are really going to have a good year. I generally think they're going to have a good year under Ange Postecoglou. I love their manager. They play some really good attacking, pressing, good brand football. So you have decided to go with them in fourth. They've had an intriguing transfer window so far. Spurs, a little bit quiet. Obviously, they have lost Brian Gill, which is a bit of a loss for them, but apart from that, it's been a little bit quiet for Spurs, but I'm intrigued to what they'll do for the rest of the window. Third, I'm going to decide to go with Liverpool and the slot. Will people are maybe predicting them to finish maybe down here, because of, it's a big risk for Liverpool. Obviously, no Jurgen Klopp anymore. It's going to be a bit of a weird one for them, in my opinion. Obviously, finished third in the Premier League. I feel like to still secure Champions League football would be a great first season for slot. Let me know, Liverpool fans, you'd be happy with third. Obviously, not making any signings yet, though, Liverpool. Second, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Man City and Arsenal. I want to be bold. I want to be different. I feel like most likely my head is telling me this, but I want to be bold. I want to be different. Man City, they are not going to sign any players this window unless if players depart. They're linked with Ederson, has been linked heavily with a move away from Manchester City. But for me, Arsenal winning the Premier League. I feel like I would love to see someone different winning the Premier League. They recently bolstered their defensive ranks as well in Calafiori, the young defender as well from Bologna. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this Premier League table prediction. Really hope you guys have enjoyed it. Can't wait to get slated in the comments. Massive thank you to everybody watching, and have a great day, everybody. See you all soon.